What's up, guys? This is Adam with Tabletop Vibes. I'm here with
Liz Coleman. Hello.
and we are playing Keymaster by NL Games. And so this game is hella good. And essentially why I said that is because you're dead. That's what you're dead, and you're in the 7th layer of hell. And but there's hope, which is always good. You always
Very
need help.
small amount of hope.
Very small.
The goal is to get out of hell.
Yes.
So there's various components within the game, boons and resources that you have to use to either, for your advantage or to some of the other players' disadvantage to try and get out of hell and essentially escape a certain beast.
Yes, which is the Minotaur, and you need to escape hell and become the
Keymaster.
Or you can become the Gatekeeper.
Right.
And yes, do you feel Ghostbusters right there? Because you do. We were doing that the entire time because it's so much fun. So essentially, you are trying to get out of the 7th level of hell by playing water cards to move on your turn. You can get different boons, level 1, 2, 3 boons, which do cooler and better things to help you escape, because eventually when you hit the 4th level, that Minotaur will be coming for you.
It is essentially released. So think of it, in a lot of the, Greek mythology or any other games that I've played, that involve a Minotaur, usually it's kind of like when you play in a maze. You're in these different areas. Essentially, you're in these different rooms, and you are trying to escape the Minotaur. So in order to become that Keymaster that we were talking about, you have to get to a certain space within the game. But as soon as you hit space, I believe it was 4, that Minotaur is released. And essentially that clock starts ticking for when that Minotaur is going to catch up to you.
Yeah, and so the first movement, you're like, hey, it's not bad, he's released. But the first movement, he moves 1, and then he moves
2, and then 3 and then
each turn.
etc.
So each rotation of players, not of the board, by the way, each rotation of players, because that is huge. Our first game, we played a 3-player game, and at the end of the 3rd player's turn, the Minotaur moves, and then he moves again. And so whenever he passes through or lands on your exact space, you're dead.
You are dead. And then you are basically sent to, we were jokingly calling it like the hell jail.
Yeah.
And in order to get out of that jail, you have 6 dice that you have to roll. And of those 6 dice, you have to get 3 6s.
Yep.
And fun fact, I think it's a 10% chance or less
10%
of you being able to resurrect yourself when you roll those dice. So it's a pretty quick, game once you get everything going and once that Minotaur is released. So really you want to be strategizing, collecting those boon cards, those resources, because there's different phases, right? So if we take a step back, there's, when it is your turn, there's essentially 3 phases that you do. The first phase is the movement. And during that, you have to show that water or that food card, and that allows you to move 1 space. So you're essentially going from one room to the next, and you're always moving clockwise on the game board. And then the second phase is draw,
which all players get to draw on this turn. And you can also draw and exchange cards. So essentially you're gaining low-level cards like food and water to then exchange up to the better level cards. They're all in Latin. We would tell you what they are, but we'll just mess it up. So we'll probably just show you on the screen. But there's 3 different levels of resource cards that you can get. One being water, food. There's health in there. You can upgrade, and then you can get lanterns and gas cans. You can light hell on fire.
You can. During that draw phase, again, it's really great that all the players get to draw, because once that Minotaur is released, you want to start thinking about, oh crap, I don't want to die. I don't want to go to that hell jail, right? So it's what can I do to make that, to better myself and to better what I have going on. So you can light a fire. There are some resources you gain in order to then be able to build that fire. And then once that fire is in that room, no other players can pass through that room, so they're stuck. So if that Minotaur is coming behind them, if they don't have water, think about that resource. We talked about food and water. Well, what do you need to put out a fire?
Water.
Water. So if you don't have that water, those players are going to be stuck there while the Minotaur comes on up on them. and you get to keep moving along on the board. So it gives you that advantage.
Right. And we were joking, you don't need to be faster than the Minotaur. You just need to be faster than your friends.
Right.
But then once you're faster than your friends, you still need to be faster than the Minotaur.
And in this case, you're not going to have any friends because it is every player for themselves. And then the third action is action, right? So with that, that's where you are playing those boon cards that we were just talking about. That would be where you would be building that fire. Or you could, you know, as my husband did, stab me twice in 2 different turns.
And stole from her.
Luckily, I had cards to deflect both times because I was collecting on my resources.
There's all this tug of war back and forth. Obviously, with more players, it plays up to 5. And so with more players, there was a lot more like, I'm stealing from you, I'm backstabbing you, I'm deflecting. Guys, why are we attacking each other? The Minotaur's coming. And I'm like, whatever, dude, you're behind me. Just die.
I just want to be the Keymaster.
Yeah, I just want to be the Keymaster. And then I got to level 7 out of 9, essentially. And the Minotaur killed me. So then we went to do that again. But then on the first game, too, I got pretty close, killed all of us, so nobody wins.
Yep.
So it's fast. It's really fun trying to, like, outrun the Minotaur. Stab your husband or wife, obviously, stealing from them.
It happens.
The art is like kind of like cool. There's also a Spotify playlist that you can play while you play the game, which we thought was just amazing. It does bring you into this realm.
Yeah, it created the ambiance, right? I mean, we had it playing the entire time in the background. It does kind of set the mood. And then once that Minotaur is released, I think we wanted some quicker music, I think, because then it's like, oh, we got to move quick. Because once it goes around, I mean, like we said, it moves 1 space and then 2 and then 3 and then, you know, everybody dies.
Right.
So.
And then the other really awesome part is there's an expansion that makes the Gatekeeper. So you have the Keymaster, the Gatekeeper. So the first person to die by the Minotaur becomes the Gatekeeper, and then their job, they merge with the beast.
Think of it like they're being possessed maybe by the Minotaur. And so then they're going around the board trying to kill the other players. So it gives it an additional element.
Yes, which I love.
Where it goes from every player to themselves to almost where the players that do not become the Minotaur
band together.
Might have to work together, you know, trade cards, trade those resources, get those boons set up so that they can, you know, hopefully get to becoming the Keymaster. And then, you know,
there only can be one.
There can only be one, though. So I'm sure there will be some backstabbing
for sure
at the end of that. So.
And like, so you can play all these different cards in combination. You can play as many combos as you want on your turn. And there's like a power legend where you can trade this many cards for this. And so you're trying to essentially resource management card your hand. Yeah. And like, you can only hold 9 cards, but if you get the rucksack, you can hold 15 cards. And so, right? Who knew you were rucking in hell?
With the 9 cards, the other thing, I think that since you get to draw, there's a draw phase on everybody's turn.
Yeah.
You do have to keep that 9 card, you know, in mind, because once you play a boon card, if it's out in play in front of you, that counts as one of your 9. So if you're drawing a card on every turn, think about how, you know, you have to make sure that you account for those cards if you have boons in front of you.
But there's also a really good boon effect, as you could say, because when they're out in front of you, you can also still take those boons and trade up.
Yeah, you can still use those for exchanging.
The really big crux of the game, which on our first game, we just got eliminated so quickly. But then like you start to learn that it's more about timing and resources and when to play cards and combo the correct combos or have fun with combos.
Yes.
Don't let out the Minotaur super quick. Right? Light a fire. Make everyone behind you. Try to get some
resources, you know, under your belt. I know that's what I was focusing
try to have
on.
like a water or a food, because if someone steals it and you get to your turn and the Minotaur's coming, you can't move. Now you're screwed.
You're stuck where you're at.
So it's just kind of like a huge blast. There's also another expansion that could be unlocked in the campaign, in the Kickstarter campaign, for lore. So I was Jack Mulligan. A capitalist piece of crap, I guess, is pretty much what it was. Just did everybody wrong during life, amassed a ton of money, and then he realized that he wasn't that great of a person, but there was hope, and he's trying to get back out. There's also ways to kill the Gatekeeper fused into the Minotaur and Gatekeeper fused together to create the other person. So you can take that person out, which is kind of cool. They get their own little cards as well to use against all the rest of the players. Yes. So there's just a lot of like, it's a lot of replayability. The game plays quickly. Like understanding how to play isn't hard. It's just a
No,
lot of
not
fun.
at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, once you learn, the mechanics are pretty simple, right? And obviously some of it is luck, because you're drawing these resources, and you also have that ability to exchange those resources for better ones. And then from there you can decide, can I build this fire?
Right.
Can I make this, can I use this lantern to deflect my husband stabbing me?
Right.
These various things that you have to kind of be aware of. But once you get that down, I mean, I think that you could play like 3-4 of these
in the back to back
with some friends, and just have a really good time with it.
Yeah, it's a blast. So we had such a good time playing it. I haven't won yet, but I might get there eventually. I didn't have anybody.
That Minotaur is fierce.
He's just
okay,
rough.
like I don't know.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. So
it is fun.
It's coming to Kickstarter really soon, so make sure that you check it out. Like, subscribe, and comment what item you would bring to hell if you were trapped there and had to get out.
Not water? My husband.
Yeah, water maybe, a rucksack, some swift feet. There's like a swift feet card, you can move faster.
Yes. The stealing is another one.
Yeah.
The snatch, that is one of the boons that you can have.
Right. So keep up the hope. Don't let the Minotaur kill you. We're Tabletop Vibes, and we'll check you next time. Thanks for watching.